Hello, I'm Mark Henry. And what is your name, sir?
Norman Preston.
Pleasure. Nice to see you. So, tell me, what circumstances led you to volunteer for the Corps during the war?
Actually, well, I was drafted in the military.
You were drafted, okay.
Drafted, okay. And in the course of being drafted, we went to the communication center where you take your physical to get in the military.
Right.
You didn't know what you were going to get into. So when I went to Fort Hays, Columbus, Ohio, and after completing the physical requirements, we was taken in a room and sit in a box in front of the military, the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Army, and the whatnots. And they look at your folder and they say, oh, you fits our criteria. And of course that criteria, that particular time, you know, it was lily white. So it was an honor to be picked that way. But after a number of years, I realized why my folder stood out more than they expected.
Okay.
Because of my physical ability.
Okay.
And I lived that legend down because I lived to be quite young. Actually, I had my first sickness after I was 90 years old. So you see, they made a very good pick,
Right.
physically. But you see, I didn't realize how important it was to be a physical specimen at that time, because see, we was always told that we wasn't we were physically fit, we couldn't do this, and you know, we was just a cast off.
Right. So there was a higher bar set
Yeah.
for African Americans during that time.
Right, very high.
Very high bar. Okay.
Right, and physical was one of them. You had to be able to endure the stress and pain and the bigotry, the hatred that you had to go through it, even with your physical ability. You know, as life goes on, and being an Afro-American, you know, they will tend to break your morale down, not physically, but mentally. And I was taught that. But there's a way you can overcome that. And I look at history today, and when I was coming along, I was able to be sit down by a young man that I was just a laborer on the railroad, and he taken a liking to me, and I said I couldn't understand why. And my father was a 32nd degree Mason, and when I joined, and as an apprentice, that's the highlight of it. So when I got my first little ring, you know, I was flashing it around, and this white man, he was a 32nd degree Mason. I couldn't figure out why he'd take to me, but he was living up to his heritage.
Right.
See, in his obedience. So he led me aside and told me what was in store, and inspired me what to do and how to do. And he told me that, he said, you're going to be rejected, but don't bother about that. I know when they're going to reject, I know what they're going to tell you, but don't give up. And they followed his footsteps. I was rejected. I sit in the office in front of this big Dutchman, and he said, who you think you are? You know, you don't deserve one of these jobs. I said, thank you, sir.
So it was very blatant at that time. It was much more.
Oh, yes.
I see.
So consequently, I walked out, and the first person I met after he rejected me was the same man that sent me in there. He said, don't worry, I'll straighten that out.
Right.
Next thing I knew, I was accepted.
That gave you a sense of pride because you felt like you know,
right.
It made the effort worthwhile.
Yeah,
I should say.
So they kept me out of the military for almost better than a year. And finally, when I did have to go in, he watched me like a hawk, and he said, don't worry, if we lose you here, you're going to be back. And consequently, I did. then they passed a law that if you get drafted and you hold a stat on your job, they will have to honor that when you come back. You don't lose your spot. So I went in the Marine Corps, and my goal was to get out and get back home as the first black Afro-American in the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers on the railroad. And consequently, when I did get back, and I pursued my career, went back to the railroad, and finished my course, and got into civilian life, taking that training that I received on there, and established a very successful contracting business.
After.
After the fact.
Wow.
But I don't regret the 2 years that I stayed in the Marine Corps, because they always said, well, you know, the Marine Corps, well, you know, the Marine Corps make you what, I made the Marine Corps. I didn't know what that meant until
Right.
now. See, now I understand what really made the Marine Corps.
Right.
Because the Commandant has made no issue about it. He said, look, you know, you all have made the Marine Corps something we never envisioned it would be. And that is an honor in itself.
Of course it is. Of course it is. It's the people that make the entity, you know, not the other way around.